There are cases that shake a community. And then there are cases that shake the entire internet. In July 2019, a 17-year-old girl from Utica, New York, was murdered by someone she trusted. But what happened after the murder, the way it spread across social media, the way online communities reacted, and the way her family was forced to fight platforms just to have her death photos removed turned this tragedy into a dark mirror held up to the internet age. This is the story of Bianca Devins. And it's a story we all need to hear. Bianca Michelle Devins was born on October 2, 2001, and grew up in Utica, New York. By all accounts, she was a bright and creative teenager. She intended to study psychology at Mohawk Valley Community College. But Bianca also carried struggles that many young people silently carry. She dealt with depression, anxiety, borderline personality disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and had been in and out of the hospital receiving mental health treatment for much of her teen years. Like so many young people who feel unseen in the physical world, she found refuge in online communities. She built a following on Instagram and Discord platforms where she could express herself, connect with others who understood her, and just exist in a way that felt safe. Her mother, Kim Devins, described her relationship with social media simply: social media was a huge part of Bianca's life. And online, she could be whoever she wanted to be. But the same internet that gave Bianca community would, in the worst possible way, become the setting for the most devastating chapter of her story. About 2 months before Bianca's death, she met Brandon Clark, then 21, on Instagram. According to Bianca's mother, Kim, Bianca did not want a relationship with him at the time, and she had even complained to a friend about the creepy, obsessive messages she received from Brandon. To the outside world, Clark didn't look like a threat. Kim Devins described him as a goofy, nerdy boy next door. He was at their house often, and the family trusted him. In fact, Kim took comfort in the fact that Clark would accompany Bianca to a Nicole Dollanganger concert in New York City, her first solo concert. Clark's own childhood had been traumatic. His father had abused his mother and was eventually incarcerated, and Clark ended up in foster care. Friends noted he had displayed signs of obsessive behavior. Despite the red flags Bianca had privately noticed, Clark was embedded in her world, and he had already begun planning something unthinkable. On July 13, 2019, Bianca and Clark drove to the concert in New York City. At the concert, Bianca met another friend, with whom she shared a kiss. Clark witnessed it. Afterward, he drove Bianca back toward Utica. At some point during the night, Clark woke Bianca up and confronted her about the kiss. When she apologized, he told her sorry is not enough. When she asked when he would take her home, Clark grabbed a knife and killed her. What followed was deeply calculated. Clark set the scene deliberately. He played a song called Test Drive by Joji on repeat, a song about a one-sided relationship. He spray-painted the words, "May you never forget me," on the ground, a reference to a dark manga series the two had read together. At 6:03 a.m. on July 14th, Clark posted a disturbing image to Discord with the caption, "Sorry FKers. You're going to have to find somebody else to orbit." Then he called family members in what sounded like a suicide note, and waited. When law enforcement arrived, Clark stabbed himself in the neck and lay across a green top concealing Bianca's body, posting more photos online. He survived. Within hours, the images Clark posted had spread far beyond Discord. From there, they spread like wildfire onto mainstream platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, garnering international media attention. People were making memes out of the images, turning them into jokes. Reporter E.J. Dixon, who covered the story for Rolling Stone, said she had never seen anything like it before. And then, the cruelest blow. Someone texted the horrific photo directly to Bianca's family. Kim Devins, upon seeing it, kept screaming it wasn't her daughter. Her grandfather, Frank Williams, knew the truth and steeled himself to hold the family together. Bianca's younger sister Olivia, who at the time of sentencing had reached the same age as Bianca when she died, described random people, setting their profile pictures as Bianca's death photo and visiting her page. Knowing she would see it, she eventually had to delete all her social media accounts. Behavioral scientist Stephen Cremando described this as a form of psychological terrorism, a deliberate, ongoing act of cruelty designed to make the family feel that the attack could come again at any moment. Though Clark did not self-identify as an incel, he was celebrated by that online community. Users wrote things like, "Mr. Clark is a legend, and he did the world a favor." Brandon Clark was arrested that morning. The evidence against him was overwhelming. He had filmed the murder himself. In early 2020, Clark pleaded guilty to second-degree murder charges, just weeks before trial was set to begin. In his statement to the court, he expressed remorse. "I think I need to realize what I did I can't undo. As much as I want to. I know sorry is not enough, and it won't take back what I did." But the road to sentencing was not without more pain. Just 5 months after pleading guilty, Clark attempted to withdraw his guilty plea, something that infuriated the Devins family. Clark claimed his attorney had pressured him into pleading guilty. A judge denied the motion. In March 2021, Brandon Clark was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. He will not be eligible for parole until 2044. At the sentencing, Bianca's mother, Kim, asked the court to ensure Clark remained behind bars for the rest of his life. Her grandfather, Frank Williams, told Clark directly that the family would show up at every parole hearing to represent Bianca. The Devins family refused to let Bianca be remembered only by her death photo. They started a scholarship in Bianca's name for students pursuing psychology degrees. In early 2020, friends and family held the B Gala to celebrate her life, showcase her artwork, and raise funds for the scholarship. Kim Devins channeled her grief into advocacy, working alongside legislators. She helped bring about Bianca's Law, signed by New York Governor Kathy Hochul, a law establishing criminal and civil penalties for uploading and disseminating graphic personal images or crime scene photos in New York State. But Kim has made clear this is only the beginning. The only way to hold social media companies and big tech accountable is to establish a federal law, she has said. And as of today, that fight continues. Bianca Devins was 17 years old. She loved art, music, and psychology. She struggled, like so many teenagers do, and she found community online when she felt alone. She deserved to grow up. What happened to her and what happened after exposed something deeply broken about how we treat victims online, how platforms police violent content, and how online communities can radicalize people into celebrating violence. Her name deserves to be said with dignity, not used as a punchline or a hashtag. If this video moved you, share it. Not for the algorithm, but because Bianca's story still matters. And because her mother is still fighting to make sure it never happens to another family. Rest in peace, Bianca.